one, just got completely confused. What the hell happened? This is part two of Clean Pin, so we left off in part one, where I was just babbling about how, the Usos pretty much, their title reign here was historic nonetheless. But you really don't have any tag teams, and the team that now stands in the way of breaking that record is the Usos, who in actuality is the least team of recent go arounds to be that should be getting a tag team title shot. But then when you when you look about it and you think about it, there is no really other tag teams um, presently vying or going forward in the WWE. So yes, if they break the record now with Jimmy potentially being injured, what they do with it? Do they lose the straps? I don't think you take them this far for them not to break the record, but if they lose due to injury for Jimmy, who was injured, for a while there and came back. You remember, just a tough break, all in all, but interesting to see where it goes. As far as the match on Crown Jewel between the Usos and the Braun Brutes, banger of a match, cannot complain. But it's kind of like you didn't expect the tag team title to change, because they've been mentioning the record for so long now, and they've taken it so far, which, and don't get me wrong, they built up the Brawling Brutes to where initially, honestly, at least for me, initially where you really didn't even care about the Brawling Brutes, to now where you kind of care, right? So that's an improvement. I don't know if much of the fans care, but I care. I care. And now at least kind of a little bit. Braun Strowman. And we're just with this New York traffic, man. Okay. All right. All right. These people do not know how to drive here in New York. But nonetheless. Braun Strowman has got himself in a little bit of some, hot water, should I say? And here I am live. Kind of live, but not live, whatever. Braun Strowman got himself into a little bit of hot water here again, with the internet, and apparently whoever you believe, maybe even backstage. Various wrestlers responded, some even of the wrestlers that he works with presently, like Mustafa Ali, who replied, can you tell me how to get fired? Or is this, can you tell me a statement how to get fired, kind of a deal? Remember, Mustafa Ali, who chimes in, who asked for his release on Twitter months ago, didn't get it, and whatever. But yeah, what did Braun Strowman say? You guessed something to the effect of, he said that his match in Crown Jewel, he got a great match in Crown Jewel with Omos, and he didn't have to do the flippity flops that most wrestlers do. And Will Ospreay kind of jumped in there, like I mentioned. Ali jumped in, Chris Jericho jumped in, yada 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 yada. You know how it goes. Braun Strowman said something to the effect of, "You guys do not know how to take joke or anything like that." But we know that's what Braun Strowman meant. I'm sure. I don't know. The context of it was not really worded as a joke to me, anyway. It was kind of just worded as a matter of fact, right? So, and to a point, Braun Strowman is correct. I mean, there are a lot of flippily flops and wrestlers do in AEW. Honestly, you do, and it's just too much. It's really, just because Braun doesn't like that style of wrestling, there are clearly others that do like that style of wrestling. I mean, check out AEW, and everyone, jumps up and down and screams the wrestler's name. Now, what sells more money? I don't know. I think it's both the same at this point. Honestly, me personally, if you ask me what I like, I could do away with the flippity flops and just more focused on the storytelling. That's why I like a character like Bray Wyatt in the WWE. And some could care less about Bray Wyatt. Like, I'm on these message boards, and some could care less about Bray Wyatt. They say that he can't wrestle. But Bray Wyatt is not about wrestling. He's about storytelling. Well, people are more interested in wrestling, than storytelling. And, so to each its own. There is plenty of wrestling now at this point where you could all watch to whatever you want to get. You get your own fix. You could watch. I mean, but it's to each its own. Was Braun Strowman? Braun Strowman is a big name. He has a look. He's a look that many people do not have. He's someone different, someone that garners attention. Does he maybe have a little bit overinflated? Listen, you need to be overinflated to have success in the business. I feel you need that alpha dog personality. So listen, that's Braun Strowman's, point of view. We've heard this before. We've heard what he thought about indie wrestling, that he would never indie wrestle, and he said that he didn't. He created his own promotion, create your own narrative, or part of it rather. I don't know. Listen, we've heard this before from Braun Strowman, and apparently Braun Strowman has heat now backstage, depending on what you read and what you listen to. But listen, that's because I think Braun Strowman just doesn't know when to pipe down a little bit. And he always gets himself in these Twitter wars and stuff. Some people are meant not to have Twitter. A person maybe like Braun Strowman is not meant to have Twitter. I mean, look, so that's what it is. I mean, if Braun Strowman said this, yes, I wouldn't be so. He already said it before. Let's not be surprised. And, let's move on and not make such a big deal out of it. To each its own, right? Each has its own opinion. But that match was not a 47-star match with Omos that Braun Strowman mentioned there. And where does this lead Omos? I do not know. I mean, there have been some losses that he's lost to Bobby Lashley. He's lost to Braun Strowman. He hasn't had really any substantial feud recently. I don't know. He has MVP there. I don't know where you take Omos um, from here now, right? I mean, you kind of do you make maybe, and just thinking out loud here, do you maybe reunite? Because what you've seen from Bobby Lashley at Crown Jewel with Brock Lesnar, where Bobby Lashley pretty much just lost his crap after Brock Lesnar kind of just sneaked in that victory there. Do you see possibly Bobby Lashley going to MVP and saying, "Listen, I could see this happening too, right? I could see Bobby Lashley coming up to Omos and saying, "Listen, Omos, you lost last night. I had Bobby Lashley had um, Bobby Lashley had me upset. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. We could help each other out. Something to the effect of we're better working together than being separate from each other. Bring back the old crew. Bring back maybe Shelton Benjamin. Bring back Cedric Alexander, and Bobby Lashley was saying that he is determined to do this and bring back the crew. Apparently, from what you hear, when they broke up, and they should have had a longer run, right? I definitely agree with that. That the Hurt Business should have had a longer run. And it was broken up by the old McMahon regime. Listen, we have the Hurt Business here. Um, the new revamped Hurt Business. They might be able to do some serious damage and kind of allow Omos to kind of just get some more seasoning. Maybe help him kind of. I don't know. Like that's the thing. You kind of need Omos needs to be doing something, but like, where do you go now from here after losing to Braun Strowman? It's like, okay, well, you said you're this giant that beats people up. You just got beaten up. You lost. You lost. You got clean pin. You got clean pin right in the middle of the ring. So it's like, okay, now what do you do? And I don't know. You kind of need and maybe need to take 2 steps back to move 3 steps forward in a way, kind of a deal. So that's just my thought there of Omos. Nick, I wanted to jump out to Nick Aldis, kind of. Yeah, I mean, Nick Aldis kind of just went out to Instagram there and saying that he's when his contract runs out with NWA, who I've been a huge fan of NWA ever since it came back. And I've said this earlier, I've said it before. NWA is the true alternative. It's a true alternative. He's pretty much saying that he's gone. He can't, NWA does not want to listen to him about what to do, how to improve their. It's up to that line of where he is not being appreciated. Now, to me, and I don't. It's at an earlier stage, and I'm sure we're gonna find out as this unfolds. It could unfold through social media. It could, unfold through various ways. You could always do a tape, always interject something for the tapings here. Saying that he's done with NWA, and a lot of people at this point are saying that. A lot of people are believing that this is the end. The Nick Aldis is going bye-bye. Remember, Nick Aldis turned down apparently an AEW offer. Um, I'm sure a lot of AEW fans would be laughing if he does wind up signing there after he pretty much said no and well, whatever. I just think, me in my heart of hearts, and Nick Aldis and what he's had with NWA for all these years, I find it hard to believe that Nick Aldis is leaving NWA. Now, they got to do something quick here because it's unraveling where people are pretty much just crapping on NWA, saying that he's leaving, that they're one name that they had or one draw that they had. So, take it for whatever these people, these critics say and their criticism of NWA. They're believing it, and that Nick Aldis is leaving. I do not believe it. This is the winter of Aldis. Now, why I don't believe it, I cannot fully convince you or really have anything one way or another for you. I just think that this is the winter of Nick Aldis, and he's trying to use social media to stir things up, Instagram, Twitter. He's trying to stir things up, make some noise. You haven't really heard much from Aldis recently. But, you think of why wouldn't he be happy? I mean, listen, he's had one of the longest runs as an NWA champion. He's been Mr. NWA. He's been with NWA at more worser times than NWA is in now. So for me to truly believe that Nick Aldis is leaving at the state NWA is in now, which isn't a lot better. The NWA has progressed than, years prior. I just find it hard to believe that of all times Nick Aldis is now wanting to leave now. That's just me. And I know I need something more concrete than that, but just that's the logical side of me. I mean, now in recent years, NWA has been making progress, and he's had the belt there forever. That's spitting, talking, I guess, or free spitting here and whatever. I just do not believe it. I don't have any concrete evidence. I do not believe it. If Nick Aldis does leave, and I know wrestlers leave and then they come back, I'd be really surprised. I'd be really surprised. So it's a work. It's a work. Nick Aldis is not going anywhere, my honest opinion. Speaking of other promotions, very quickly, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Jeff Jarrett coming back to AEW. Listen, not my cup of tea, not my thing. I mean, I get it. Jeff Jarrett has his fans. He's been, if you're, he knows how to cut a promo. He's been wrestling forever. He's just been everything. He's been wrestling forever, and Jeff Jarrett, you associate him with TNA. At least I associate him with TNA, right? It's just, to me, and then I